Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with some more RTD news updates. And today's article has to do with the Mexican peso and its current devaluing against the United States dollar. And as always, if you're new to RTD, click the subscribe button below for more RTD news interviews, as well as updates, as well as visit the RTD University page where the link is below for more RTD news updates and news on current events surrounding the dollar. Let's dive into today's articles. So before I actually get into the articles, I wanted to just give you an idea of what I'm actually referring to. And this is the current exchange of the Mexican peso for a dollar. And as you can see, over the last several years since the last recession, we've had a continuous depreciation of the currency against the United States dollar. And as of late, within this first couple of days of the new year, it's really taken a hit. And it has a lot to do, apparently, according to the mainstream media, with a lot of what Trump's doing as far as the wall is concerned, and him speaking out against Ford moving there, and just more recent news, he's getting on Toyota as well. So he's out here creating a nice little situation for the Mexican peso that is going to cause some problems for them. And so as of now, it's 21.36 as of this Monday the 9th. So just get an idea of what's happening right now. I'll give you a picture before we actually get to these articles. So here we go. All right, today I have 6 articles. The first one from Forbes entitled, Analysts says Donald Trump's tweets are weakening the Mexican peso. Next article is from Market Watch. Mexican peso hits fresh all-time low. Next article is from Fortune, and it actually talks about, has Ford here giving his speech about the Mexican pesos weakening after Ford cancels factory plans, and so he's actually announcing the Flat Rock plant that they're going to invest $700 billion into. So we'll listen to that shortly. The next article here is from Reuters, and it's update 1. Speculators again raise net short contracts on Mexican peso. So it looks like as of last week, they're going to start betting that it will probably, devalue even more. So we'll see how that turns out. Then the next one here is from Recorder, and it's Mexican central bank sells dollars to counter peso slide to a record low. And then the last one here is from Newsmax, and it's Mexico props up peso with $1 billion as Trump slump takes hold. So let's dive into the first article. So here's the first article for Forbes. As always, I'll just thumb through it real quick to give an idea what's going on. Full article will be down below if you're interested in reading more. And so as I mentioned, it says, Analyst says Donald Trump's tweets are weakening the Mexican peso. And it's by Dalia Estevez. And so just to give you an idea, it says there are only so many tweets by President-elect Donald Trump the Mexican peso can take. On Tuesday and Wednesday, referring to last week, the peso hit record lows after Trump criticized General Motors for exporting cars made in Mexico to the U.S. and claimed credit for Ford Motor's decision to cancel production of a $1.6 billion plant in Mexico. The peso dropped 3.5% against the U.S. dollar over the 2 days. On Thursday morning, after the Mexican central bank intervened by bolstering the weakened peso, the currency managed to climb back as much as 1.5%, but the rally didn't last long. In a new tweet on Thursday, Trump threatened to Toyota with a big border tax if it didn't cancel plans to build a new factory in Mexico. So one Trump tweet was enough to arrange Mexico's intervention. So basically just, saying that Trump is, just Trump's word these days are very powerful to get things moving as far as, causing problems in currencies in other countries. So just go down a little bit further, I saw something that was quite interesting. It says that Trump's promises to renegotiate or withdraw from the North American Free Trade Agreement, which has transformed Mexico into an export powerhouse, deport millions of undocumented Mexicans and build a border wall, have generated a sense of panic among the Mexican government and the nation's business community. The Mexican currency has been particularly vulnerable, acting as a barometer throughout the campaign, weakening when polls swung in favor of Trump. The day after the election, the peso tumbled by most since Mexico's 1994 financial crisis. So just Trump's sheer presence has caused problems for Mexico. So that's what's happening with this here. It looks like the Twitter is causing problems for Mexico from Trump. Next article here from Market Watch. It says Mexican peso hits fresh all-time low. This was as of last week. And just to give you an idea of what's going on, it gives you a graph as to how over the last couple of years and how it's just really, fluctuated, but yet it's on the move up in not a good way for the Mexican population there. So Mexico hit a fresh record low on Wednesday, the day after Ford said it canceled plans to build a new plant. Instead, the automaker said it would expand production at the Mexican factory. The dollar strengthened 1.3% to the peso in a recent trade, Go down a little further. It says the sell-off in the peso has been widely attributed to the expectations that Trump's proposed policies could upend the terms of Mexico's trading relationship with the U.S., its largest export market. Trump has proposed raising tariffs on import goods and renegotiating the North American Free Trade Agreement, which involves the U.S., Mexico, and Canada. So we'll see how that pans out, because it's good to say that he believes that agreement, as he mentioned during his campaign trail, was not the best deal for America. So we'll see how that turns out. But articles below if you want to read more about that. Next one here, we have a speech given, which was meant to be a surprise, not a surprise. It wasn't a surprise. I'm sure this guy, prior to giving his speech, wasn't happy that he had to cut his plans to ultimately, save more money by spending a little bit up front, but being able to pay cheaper labor and things like that, and just overall cheaper cost to operate out of Mexico. But he's stuck with, investing $700 billion into Flat Rock, Michigan, as opposed to just spending $1.6 billion in Mexico for operations there. So give you an idea of just what's going on. I'll play a little bit of this if you haven't seen it.
To the $4.5 billion that we've committed to new electrified vehicles, we today are announcing that we're investing another $700 million to transform and expand this Flat Rock assembly plant, creating a new manufacturing innovation center.
So I'll stop it right there. Just as you can see from that whole initial presentation there, that wasn't Ford's plan. Ford Motor Company had no interest whatsoever in investing anything in the Flat Rock, if not probably eventually shutting it down for the plant in Mexico. So, but yet he has to put on the front like, it is a good thing and they're helping American people out, things like that. So I thought I would play that for you. Just as it's funny that they're spending $700 million in the Michigan factory, but was going to spend $1.6 billion for a factory in Mexico. So that's a nice little savings that they're going to put in their pocket here, but yet they're making it seem as if they're doing us a favor by, putting 700 trillion or million rather into Michigan plants. So if it wasn't for Trump speaking out, it's good to say he wouldn't be making this presentation. So anyway, if you want to read more about that, it's below. Next one here from Reuters. And so because of the currency dip in Mexico, looks like they're going to begin speculating even more, betting against it, saying that it will probably even appreciate even more. So it says currency speculators raised the number of net short bets on the Mexican peso this week, again increasing the number of contract bets that the peso will fall after a small decrease last week. The value of net short positions against the peso rose to $1.55 billion. Data from the Commodity Futures Trade and Exchange Commission released on Friday showed net short positions against the peso had risen for 6 straight weeks until December 20th, following the surprise election of Donald Trump as U.S. President. Trump promises to rewrite the free trade agreement and take a hardline stance on immigration, have sent the value of Mexican currency to all-time lows since the election. So it sounds like there's people out there with some money that's willing to make some more money by betting against the peso. So could be a good move if you're into that speculating type of thing. So interesting article. If you're interested in reading more, it's below. Here we have from Business Recorder, Mexico Central Bank sells dollars to counter peso slide to record low. So basically because of Trump's apparent big mouth and basically just giving a heads up as to what he might do has caused panic in the peso. It's dropped and their government's probably scrambling and concerned about it. Of course, the inflation I'm sure is rising there as always. And so in order to keep the peace, they're selling dollars. And so they're basically selling some of their reserves and to prop up their own currency, which goes along with that rethinking the dollar, because all these currencies surrounding the U.S. is suffering. People are going to sell dollars, and then those dollars come back to the states, and then those dollars, are all fighting for more goods and services we have here, which rises prices for us. So it's a continuous cycle. But just to give you an idea what's going on, it says Mexico's central bank sold dollars in Mexico and New York on Thursday to fight off the peso's nosedive to record lows amid fears U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's protectionist policies could further hammer Latin America's second biggest economy. The central bank sold at least $1 billion in U.S. currency in morning trade. Four traders told Reuters the central bank said it would keep the amount confidential. It was the bank's first currency intervention since February 2016 when it sold $2 billion to prop up the sinking peso. The peso depreciated 20% last year alone, and was among the world's worst performing currencies. Mexico's peso gained after the intervention was reported, firming up around 0.6% to 21.31 against the dollar, pulling away from a new record low at 21.642 per dollar on Wednesday. So basically, they're selling dollars, and those dollars have to go somewhere, and they'll probably be back here in our financial system, and eventually out into the market and then to the streets, and then that's when things really get ugly for us. But that's just how things work. So if you're interested, articles below. Last one here pretty much says the same thing. It just had an interesting picture here of this guy walking by an exchange place and seeing the buy and sell rate for it. It says Mexico props up peso with $1 billion as Trump slump takes hold. So they call it the Trump slump in Mexico. Interesting. It says, basically says the same things prior to given percentages and things like that. So just a different perspective from a different news source. But this is what's happening in the news. It's going to be a lot more currency stories coming, I'm sure. And so my goal with this is just basically, keep you informed on what's going on globally and with currencies, and how all this kind of ties into the, rethinking their currency, as well as it coming back to rethinking the dollar as well. Is that fiat currencies backed by nothing end up hurting the citizens more than anything else. So if you found this article, this interview commentary interesting, news updates, please share it with family and friends so that they can become aware. And if you're new, subscribe. I look forward to bringing you more news. Until next time.